Big O and the Big Mouth coming at you with another edition of the Total Sports Ozone. Today, we're going to look at the college football playoff rankings, which were released last night. Who was too high? Who's too low? And can we make sense of the mess that is the ACC? We're going to talk about that. And in the NFL, a rookie quarterback is going to make his highly anticipated NFL debut start this Sunday. I know, I'm pretty sure you guys all know who I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about what we should expect from his first NFL start. And we're about, you can say, 2/3, almost 3/4 of the way through the NFL season. And we're going to look at some teams that need to make a run at the playoffs now, like starting this weekend. We're going to get into all that today, right here in the Ozone. Big O with the Big Mouth coming at you on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. Then the college football playoff rankings for the third week were released last night. And here's what it looks like. I'm going to pull this up here. See if I can pull this up. Hold on. Oh, let me pull this up here for you guys. All right. Here's the college football playoff top 25 rankings for the third week, released last night. Number 25 went to Arizona State. Number 24 went to Tulane this week. Last week it was USF, but they lost. Now it's Tulane leading the group of five, or group of six teams coming in ranked at 24. Number 23, we got the University of Houston. 22, the University of Missouri. 21 is Illinois, jumping back into college football playoff conversation. Got Tennessee coming in at 20. Then here's the rough part of the rankings. Like this, the rough waters, I call it. Virginia is at 19, Michigan's at 18, Texas is at 17. Georgia Tech at 16. We're going to talk about that. USC at 15. Vanderbilt jumped up to 14. Miami is at 13. Utah is at 12. BYU is at 11. Alabama dropped down to 10. So they're still high in the rankings. Notre Dame is now at number 9. Oklahoma has moved up to number 8. Oregon is now number 7. Ole Miss at number 6. Number 5 is Texas Tech. And number 4 is Georgia. The top 3 teams still the same as they have been for weeks now. A&M third, Indiana second, and Ohio State leading the way at number 1. Now, let's get into this. First off, why is Georgia Tech ranked below with only one loss? One loss. Why are they ranked below Miami? I know Miami has some big wins on their ledger. You know, they beat Notre Dame. They beat Florida, but they did lose 2 games. They did lose 2 games in conference. They lost to, I believe they lost to, who was it, Virginia? And they lost to Louisville. No, they didn't lose to Virginia. Excuse me, my brain cramping. They lost at home to Louisville, who's not even on the map right now, because they didn't fell by the wayside. And they lost in overtime on the road to SMU, who's not on the map. Why are they ranked in the ACC? Right now, they're not going to the conference championship game. They can't. They have 2 conference losses. They need help. See what I'm saying? They need a whole lot of help just to get to the ACC title game. So why are they ranked below Georgia Tech? Georgia Tech has 1 loss. 1 loss. They escaped last week at Boston College. They escaped. But still, only 1 loss. Why are they ranked below Miami? What is this? Is the committee so hell-bent on getting Miami into the playoff because they beat Notre Dame? And Notre Dame is ranked 9th? Is that what it is? Somebody needs to make sense of this to me. Because I didn't understand it when they pulled it up. I was like, wait a minute. Georgia Tech should be top 13 minimum. It should be at least, I think it should be flipped. 13 should be Georgia Tech. 16 should be Miami. Yes. Oh, they beat Notre Dame. So, they got 2 conference losses. So, right now, they're not getting into the ACC. They need a whole lot of help. They can't even get to the ACC championship game. They can't get there because they have 2 conference losses. Georgia Tech only has 1. So Miami is going to need to win out and get a lot of help. They need Georgia Tech to lose another conference game, and then we got 2 games left. And one of them is a non-conference game against Georgia. So it just boggles my mind there how Georgia Tech is ranked below Miami. Even though Miami has 2 conference losses in the ACC, Georgia Tech has 1. Are they trying to disrespect Georgia Tech in the way of, and if they are, how? Why? Why are they trying to disrespect Georgia Tech with only 1 loss? They should be right behind Utah and BYU in the pecking order. At least that's how I see it. Miami should be right down there with Texas and Michigan. They have 2 losses. I don't give a damn who they beat. They have 2 losses in conference. They should not be ranked 13th. At least not my eyes. I mean, you lost 2 conference games, so you're not even going to the... So right now, if you slot it right, because BYU, Utah, one of the highest group of 5 ranked team that right now, that's Tulane, gets an automatic spot. The highest group is the 4 teams that win the Power 4 that win the conference championships. They get automatic qualifiers. Plus the highest ranked group of 5, regardless of conference, gets an automatic qualifier. Right now, that would be Tulane. Right? So, let's just hypothetical. Ohio State, Big Ten. Georgia. Or just let's say Georgia, SEC. BYU, Big 12. And then, let's just say for argument, Georgia Tech, ACC. They win their respective conference championships. Then, for the sake of the argument of this rankings, Tulane stays in the rankings and they get the 5th automatic qualifier. Okay? Right. The hell are you putting Miami? Somebody's not going to get in. If you put Miami in with 2 conference losses, what about USC? What about Vanderbilt? What about the loser between BYU and Utah? What about Texas Tech? Well, Texas Tech going to get in. If they went out, they're going to get in. But what if BYU beats Texas Tech in the conference championship? That's 2 spots That's 2 spots because Texas Tech don't get in. Right? So somebody is going to be very disappointed. And I think it should be mine. I know they beat Notre Dame. But if you don't even make it to your conference championship game, you're at the mercy of the at-large. There's only 7 at-large spots. And there's going to be a whole lot of arguments. Alabama going to get in. If they don't lose, there's a lot of hypotheticals we can talk about. If Alabama don't lose to Auburn in the Iron Bowl, they get in. They get in. They still have a chance to go to the SEC championship game. Even if they lose that, even if they get in, even if they lose that, they're going to get in. They will get in. Notre Dame, all they got to do is win out. They don't have a conference affiliation. They don't have to worry about a conference championship game. They're going to get in as long as they win out. Makes no sense to me, but they are. There we go with those quality losses. Right? But if those scenarios play out the way I just spoke of, where you play Miami? What if Georgia Tech loses? They get to the ACC championship game and they lose to either Virginia or somebody else. What if they lose? Does Georgia Tech get in if it only be 2 losses? What about Miami? Miami already has 2 losses. And then you got to look at Utah. You got to look at Vanderbilt. What if USC beats Oregon? Where would they be in the pecking order? Would Oregon stay in? Oregon would probably still get in even if they lose another game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They would probably stay in even if they lose another game. But the bugaboo to me is Miami. What happens if everything plays out the way it might? What do you do with Miami? Miami can't go to the ACC championship game unless they get a whole shitload of help. I mean, Georgia Tech got to fall by the way. Virginia got to fall by the wayside. Louisville's already fell, so that helps. But with 2 conference losses, you're going to need some help. You're going to need a whole lot of help. Because even if Georgia Tech and Virginia lose, you're going to have to worry about the tiebreakers. And I don't think Miami holds them. I have to check on that, but I don't think they hold them. So what are you going to do with Miami? I see the committee is so hell-bent on getting Miami into the college football playoff that I truly believe they're going to disappoint and slight one of these teams below them that deserves to get in. I think Vanderbilt deserves to get in. They only have 2 quality losses. Lost 2 quality losses. Lost to Alabama, and I believe they lost to who? Georgia? Or Georgia or Tennessee A&M? One of them 2. They beat them. Other than that, that's it. They deserve to get in. And then here's another scenario that might, and it scares me a little bit. But here's another scenario about the Big Ten. Right now, we know Ohio State and Indiana, regardless of what happens to them the rest of the season, they're in. It would just all be a matter of will they get first round buys or if they stumble along the way. Like if those 2 teams meet in their Big Ten championship, the winner definitely would probably be the number 1 seed, and the loser will probably stay no lower. It'd probably be a coin flip whether they stay 4th or 5th. Whether they get that bye, it'll probably come down to strength of schedule, strength of rank. The loser of the Big Ten championship game, provided Ohio State and Indiana meet in the Big Ten championship. The winner will probably be the number 1 seed. The loser either going to be the 4th, 5th, or 6th seed. So it'll all be determined on strength of record, strength of schedule, and all that other jazz. Whether they get that bye or they have to play a home game in the first round. But here's the but. What if Michigan, yes, that school up north, beats Ohio State? They play in a week and a half. In a week and a half, them two meet in Ann Arbor. What if Michigan upsets Ohio State again? Ohio State may not even make it to the Big Ten championship game. Remember, Michigan only has one conference loss. One. Oregon only has one conference loss. One. So, Michigan beats Ohio State. Do Michigan get in? They will have one conference loss. They have two losses, but they have one conference loss, and they would have beaten the number one team in the country. Do they get in? Now Michigan has been wishy-washy on offense all year, but the defense is strong. So it's not like Michigan will be an easy out if they made it to the college football playoff. But that's a scenario. If you're an Ohio State fan like I am, you have to consider that. You have to consider, what if Michigan beat Ohio State? How far Ohio State would be just like last year. They ranked high all year, could not beat Michigan, and they fell all the way out of the chance of winning the Big Ten. And they fell all the way to 8th and had to play a first round home game in the playoffs. There's no doubt Ohio State, Indiana, and possibly or in Oregon probably in, as long as they went out. Long as they went out, there's no doubt. But if Michigan, who was ranked 18th, beats Ohio State, how far do they climb? Do they jump Texas? Do they jump Georgia Tech? Do they jump Vanderbilt? Because they will have no doubt about it. No matter what you say about schedules or whatever, if Michigan does upset Ohio State, they will have the biggest win of the season from any team in any conference. There's no denying that. You can say what you want about the SEC or the Big 12 or whoever. If Michigan picks off Ohio State again, they will have had the biggest win of the season from any team in any conference. How far do they go up? Could you leave Michigan out? Could the committee leave them out if they beat number one? I don't see that they could do that. I don't see how they could do that. Michigan may not get to the Big Ten championship game, but still, you beat number one, you got to get in. You got to get in. And what about Texas? Let's talk about Texas. 3 losses, but they only fell to 17th. They're not in the 20s. They've only fell to 17th. And they have 3 losses. Two of them, you can say they're quality losses, Ohio State and Georgia. And then that one bad loss to Florida. But what if they play Texas A&M, number 3, in a week and a half in Austin? What if they beat Texas A&M and keep A&M out of the SEC championship? Because if A&M loses, Georgia and Alabama are going to meet. Georgia and Alabama, and Georgia wins out. If Texas A&M loses to Texas, I believe Alabama and Georgia will be meeting for the SEC championship game in that scenario. What do you do with Texas? With 3 losses? Do you treat them like 3-loss Alabama last year and keep them out over an ACC team? That's exactly what happened last year with Alabama. Alabama lost 3 games, and there was a big, big funky debate on who should get that last spot. Should it be Alabama or should it be SMU? The committee went with SMU mainly because they only have 2 losses, one in conference, and they had just lost. They had just lost the ACC championship game, so at least they made it that far. And Alabama didn't make it that far. So I think that's what last year what got SMU in over Alabama, even though Alabama had 3 losses. We could be looking at that same scenario this year with Texas. What if they beat A&M at home? And what if they look damn good doing it? I mean, we're talking about a 15, 20-point blowout win. What if they look damn good doing it? But they got 3 losses. What do you do with Texas? They ain't going to the SEC championship. They're done. They ain't going there. But what do you do with them? Do you leave them out, even though they beat the number 3 team in the country? Man, we're going to have some hellified debates coming up in the next week, 2 weeks. The landscape already changed a little bit with the Alabama loss to Oklahoma and the Texas loss to Georgia. And plus, the USF lost. And what about the group of 5? Tulane right now is in the catbird seat, as you would say. But you also got to worry about North Texas. You got to worry about Navy. And a couple of others in that group of 5. So Tulane's little hold in the top of the pecking order in the group of 5 is tentative. It's tentative at best. Because there are other teams nipping at their heels. I thought Navy should be in it. If they hadn't took such a bad loss at Notre Dame, Navy would be right up in here. Navy. That's right. But they took a really bad loss at Notre Dame. I think that's the only thing that's holding them out of being in the top 25 by the committee. But we'll see. We will see because it's coming. We are down to 2 weeks left in the regular season. 2 weeks. And there's going to be fire and debate. Like I said, I think Georgia, I'm going to just end it like this. I think Georgia Tech should be higher than Miami. Other than that, and I think Texas should be in the 20s. They've lost 3 games. I know that quality losses, 2 of them at least, but they lost 3 games. And a bunch of teams on here that are behind them and in front of them haven't lost 3. And losses should come into some kind of play here when it comes to determining the top 25. They got to start coming into play. Losses. Whether they were quality losses or really bad losses, they're still losses. And Texas has 3 of them. Georgia Tech, only 1. Michigan only has 2. Really, Michigan should be ahead of Texas. As much as I hate to say that, Michigan should be ahead of Texas. They got pushed last weekend by Northwestern, but they still found a way to win the game. Texas did not. I don't know. I know they were playing Georgia. So, you lost. It was a game you needed. You lost. I think Virginia should be ahead of all 3 of them. Really. I think Virginia should be in front of all these others except Georgia Tech. That's just how I see it. USC, they did knock Iowa out of any chance of anything. But they had to come back to do it. Now USC can make a whole lot of noise this weekend if they go up to Eugene and knock off Oregon. they could make a whole lot of noise. I mean, we talking the pecking order, not just the kind of Big Ten, but the whole college football playoff will look really different if USC can knock off Oregon in Oregon. That kind of game might knock Oregon out of the whole thing completely. Don't know. So these next couple of weeks, a lot of stuff gonna be on the line. This map here, this little chart here, definitely is gonna look different by this time next week, and it's definitely gonna look different at the end of the regular season. It's gonna look totally different because there's a lot of scenarios and what ifs and what could have and should have, would have, could have that could play out here, and I'm looking forward to it. I wonder about you. What do you think? Who's too high? Who's too low? Who's right where they need to be, and who is like, you got to be kidding me if they're ranked there? Drop me a comment. Let me know. Oh, don't forget the like and subscribe. I would love to see your comments. Now, I would definitely appreciate the like and subscribe. But let me know what you think. Is that, I mean, we know the college football playoff rankings are fluid because they change week to week. But what do you think? Who should be higher? Who should be lower? Who shouldn't even be on this? Let me know let me know with a comment. Drop me a comment if you would. Big O with the big mouth in the Total Sports Ozone. And let's move on to the NFL now. Well, finally, rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders will make his first NFL start for the Cleveland Browns this weekend when they take on the Las Vegas Raiders out in Las Vegas. All I can say about that is it's about damn time. It's about damn time. I mean, I think he should have started 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. And let's face it, Dylan Gabriel's had his opportunity. And he's garbage. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going by the little brief snippets of scene from Dylan Gabriel as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns since Joe Flacco was traded. He's had a couple of good moments. But that's it. I'm still wondering why he keeps throwing the ball at people's feet. Why aren't you throwing it up? And throw it where they can catch it. You know, usually I know how difficult it might be to throw on the run, but usually you want to throw it at their face, or at least in the chest area to give them a chance. Why are you throwing it at their feet? He does that a lot. He also gets flustered too quick in the pocket. He's afraid to step up and throw the ball downfield. Because I've only seen him throw the ball downfield twice. At least one of them was caught for a touchdown. But I don't see too much of him taking shots downfield. Now, it could be because of the fact that the Browns don't have a decent wide receiver. They definitely don't have a wide receiver that is scare any team deep. We know that. But still, you at least got to take a shot. Shedeur Sanders did that twice. One of them he airmailed. The first shot he took deep downfield, he airmailed it over the end zone. But the next one, it could have been a touchdown. Had the defender not had the fortitude to knock the ball away at the very last second. Because he put it right there where the receiver could catch it. The defender just made a great play to swat the ball away at the last second. But he put it right there. So it intrigues you. Saying, this young man he do got a cannon. He do got an arm. He does. He does have an arm. No doubts about that. Let's just see how accurate with it. I know the rub on him is he's holding on the ball too long. He did that on Sunday. Held on the ball too long. Didn't get the ball away, and that's why he took 2 very bad sacks. And then he didn't trust his reads, and then When he finally made the read, he made the wrong run through an interception. But see, like we discussed yesterday, this is going to be the first time in his since he's been with the Browns that he's going to get first. He's going to get reps with the first team, with the starters, with the projected starters. First time all year. Now my question is, the hell you wait? Why are you waiting until now to give that young man first team reps? You should have started, Kevin Stefanski. You should have started giving that young man first team reps when you traded Joe Flacco. Even if you made Dylan Gabriel your starting quarterback, don't you? You do know it only takes one good hit, one play going the wrong way, and you're going to need your backup quarterback to come in the game. You know that, right? I mean, 2-time coach of the year, you should know things like this. So why didn't you not give both Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders equal time with the first team? Equal reps. I know one's the starter. So what? They're both rookies. They both need time with the first team. I heard on sports talks that the reason why Shedeur Sanders looked very terrible is because the offensive line didn't know his snap count. How you not know your quarterback snap count? Because he wasn't practicing with the first team. And you can blame, there's a lot to blame. You can point the blame here, there, all over the place. I know that. You can point the fingers to the coaching staff. You can point the fingers at his teammates. You can point the finger at Shedeur Sanders. Doesn't freaking matter. What matters is this. That offense needs to get on the same page. Now, with Shedeur Sanders, you got no choice. You got no choice but to get on the same page. That offense hasn't been on the same page all fucking year. That's right, I said it. That offense has not been on the same page all fucking year. And now that you're 2-8 and pretty much have no shot whatsoever of any hope, of any thought of thinking about making the playoffs, you ain't got no choice. You got to see what your rookie 5th round pick at quarterback can do. But this should have been done 2, possibly 3 weeks ago. You got to know. This is what I didn't understand. And I still don't understand it. You picked 2 rookies. You need to play both of them. We need to see. You need to see as the coach and the coaching staff and the organization and the fans need to see which one of these 2 quarterbacks gives them the best chance. If they give them a chance at all. We got to know. You drafted them, why not play them? If one of them sticks, get rid of the other one or make them the backup. If they both stink, well, you got next year's draft. You got 2 first rounders in next year's draft. And here we go with we'll have another quarterback merry-go-round again if they don't stick. But how do we know? We need to know. Well, finally, we're going to know. Well, at least we're going to get a little first take of what Shedeur Sanders can bring to this table. Now, he might stink against the Raiders. Then again, he might have best rookie performance you've ever seen against the Raiders. Let's face it, the Raiders are horrible. They stink. Smell, hot garbage, whatever you want to call it. But playing a rookie. Rookies don't know. Most rookie quarterbacks don't know how to read blitzes. They don't know how to read complex defensive schemes. They really don't. The only way they learn is through taking hits and repetition. Reps, 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 trial and error. So what I am expecting from Shedeur Sanders in his first NFL start, I hate to say it, but not much. He's a rookie. He is a rookie. I think he'll throw his first NFL touchdown the next game in against the Raiders. I think he'll do that. I think he'll throw for anywhere from 150 to 190 yards, and he'll get his first NFL touchdown. But I also think he'll throw 2 interceptions. He'll be sacked 4 times at least, and the Browns will have to lean heavily on their running game to keep them in the game, or to keep giving them a chance to win the game. So I expect Keyshawn Judkins to have his best game as a Brown. That's what I'm expecting, because if any of y'all are expecting Shedeur Sanders to go out there and light up the Vegas sky with 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, it ain't gonna happen. I don't no. Just not gonna happen. He's still a rookie. But I also think he's gonna run. If they finally gonna let him run, he'll probably run for about 30, 40 yards. He'll probably have one good scramble to get a first down. I hope he remembers to learn to get down when he sees the defenders barreling down on him. Get down. Don't try to be the hero. You're not there to be a hero. You're here to be the quarterback. But I do not expect very much from Shedeur Sanders. I hate to say that, but again, this offense of the Browns, you remember, this is the Browns, and their offense hasn't been on the same page almost 2 years, really. Damn near 2 years. So I don't expect Shedeur Sanders to, do some have some jaw dropping stats. I don't expect that. I expect to see what a rookie in his first start is going to look like. He's going to look shaky at times. He's going to hold on to the ball way too long. He's going to take sacks he shouldn't be taking. He's going to make the wrong reads, but he also going to throw the ball deep. He's going to make some decent throws. I don't know what his completion percentage is going to be. And I don't expect it to be 70, 75%. I don't expect all that. But I do expect him to look like he can be a leader of his team. That's what I really want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see him command that huddle. I want to see him lead that offense. I want to see him, even if they fail, he tries to put the team on the back, especially if the game is close and they really need that score. I want to see him try to put the team on his back and say, "Come follow me. I got this." That's what I need to see. I need to see him look like an NFL quarterback. He may not play like an elite one yet. I don't expect that. Not from his first start and second game he's ever played in the NFL. I don't expect that. I just expect him to look like he wants to be an NFL quarterback. That's what I need to see from Shedeur Sanders this Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. What about you? What are you expecting from him? You expecting any big time throws? You expecting any wow, oh my God plays from Shedeur Sanders, or do you expect him to be what he is? A rookie? Let me know. Hit me with the comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. Treading on here on Wednesday. Now let's look at the NFL the teams as we are now. Everybody has at least played 10 games, so we're in just the early part of the second half of the season. So we're gonna start in the AFC, the American Football Conference. I'm talking about teams that we thought at the beginning of the season they were locks to make playoffs. Like They were locked. There's no doubt about it. Well, some of them no doubt about it are like got a lot of doubt now. So let's talk about a few of them. First off, the Buffalo Bills. They are roughly, they are sitting at 7-3, which is about a game and a half behind the New England Patriots in the AFC East. If we looked at it right now, the Bills would be in probably as a 5 or 6 seed in the AFC. They wouldn't be. They would be in as a wild card. They definitely wouldn't be in the division champs. They're one of the teams that they need to go on that playoff run now. They need to. They still got to play at New England. See what I mean? They still got one more game at New England, and they need that game badly. And when they play in New England, they need that game like really, really badly. But for the Bills, they need to go on a playoff run right now. Because I don't think the New England Patriots are going to stop anytime soon with what their onslaught. So from here on out, Buffalo needs to treat every game like it's one and done, like it's an eliminator, like it's a playoff game. If they want to somehow, some way, jump New England and get possibly work themselves to the number one seed in the AFC, because if they don't get the number one seed, I've seen Buffalo play on the road, and they're wishy-washy. At home, they can be anybody. But on the road, they're wishy-washy. The 2-2 on the road. And it's an up and down look for the Buffalo Bills on the road. I don't think if Buffalo has to travel in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to get very far. Unless they fix some ills on defense that seems to pop up when the Bills are playing on the road, I don't see them going too far. I really don't see them going too far if Buffalo has to travel. So they're one of the teams that they need to make a serious playoff run like right now. Another one, we could say the Ravens, but they're making that run right now. They were 1-5 4 weeks ago. Now they're one game behind Pittsburgh at 5-5, and they play the Steelers twice. And with the Steelers' troubles on offense, their little up and down issues they were having on offense, like last week they were up, but the week before that they were down. Again, don't know what we're going to get from the Steelers from one week to the next. We just don't know. And I know the Steelers are looking in their rearview mirror, and they're looking in that part of that rearview mirror on the right that says object and mirror are closer than they appear. And that's the Ravens. They are closer than they appear because they're on a streak. They're not healthy. Lamar Jackson's getting healthy. Their defense is getting a little bit more healthy, and they're gelling again right at the right time. I don't know if they peaked yet. Hopefully they haven't, and for their sake, hopefully they haven't. But they are gelling, and their trajectory is going up. Steelers is like an up and down, but so the Ravens are already on that playoff rush. And then we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're sitting 2 games behind the Colts. I don't know what to make of the Jaguars. They're a solid team, but it seems like they're missing something. The Jaguars. It's like they just missing something. Something that will bring it all together. I mean, they have a solid defense. Their defense is not a scrub. Reason why they're sitting 6-4, not 4-6. But there's something missing. I know Travis Hunter is hurt, and he'd be out for the rest of the season. But if they could get that one if they had one other quality receiver to throw the ball deep to, they don't have that. And Lawrence, they have ETN rushing, and they don't have that one quality receiver that you can throw deep, that will beat coverages over the top. They don't have that. And if they had that, I think not only would they be a more exciting team, they could put a lot more pressure on the Colts. But needless to say, with the Houston Texans nipping at their heels, the Jacksonville Jaguars is one of those teams in the AFC that they need to make their playoff run right now. They can't wait till next week. They need to make it right now. And lastly, of course, Kansas City Chiefs sit 5-5, third place, AFC West. When have we last seen the Chiefs be that mediocre? When was that? What, 10, 12 years ago? Like before Patrick Mahomes? Something like that. I know in the Patrick Mahomes era, I've never seen the Chiefs sitting at 5-5, just a little over halfway through the season. Usually they're like 8-2, 9-1, something like that. But that's where the Chiefs are at. Mainly because their offense, they've gotten all the pieces back on offense, but it just seems like it's a little disjointed. It's like it's not in sync like it used to be. And the reason why is I don't think Patrick Mahomes has been comfortable against all these defenses he's playing against. The last time he looked comfortable to me playing against another decent defense was when they beat the Detroit Lions. Other than that, he hasn't looked comfortable. And I think that's what defenses are now keying on, making Mahomes uncomfortable. He's still going to scramble and run, but they're making it uncomfortable to sit back in that pocket and making him have to run more, which means he can't key on his targets. The Travis Kelce, the Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy. He can't key on them the way he used to. And it's costing them games. Like, they only scored 19 points last week. That's not a typical Kansas City team. They usually can put up 25, 30 points on you easily. But they haven't been doing that this year. And that's why they're sitting at 5-5. They need to make a playoff push now. Otherwise, it could be very possible. Very, very possible. Because the Chiefs lose tiebreakers to the Chargers, to the Jaguars. They lose tiebreakers to those two teams. So it's quite possible if the Chiefs don't turn this around and soon, they may not even make the playoffs. Yeah, that's right. I said it. If they don't turn this around, and I mean really soon, they may not even make the playoffs. Now, that will be an interesting development. Don't you think? Pat Mahomes, Chiefs, who's had this stranglehold, on the AFC for the last 6 years, not make it to the playoffs? Well, that's where we're sitting at with the Chiefs. 5-5, third place. They got to go on a hellacious and serious and ferocious playoff run. And I'm talking right now. That's the AFC. That's the teams I see in the AFC that need to make a playoff run right now. Now, looking at the NFC. They talked about this. I talked about this yesterday. Talked about it today on First Take when I looked at First Take. Dallas Cowboys. NFC East. Right now, they're second place. The NFC East is terrible. There's only one team in the NFC East over 500, and that's the Eagles. Everybody else, yeah, there you go. But Cowboys, as it stands, is 4-5-1. Now, their next 3 games is going to tell the tale of whether the Cowboys make a serious playoff push or not. They got the Eagles next Sunday. After that, they got the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. And then after that, they travel to Detroit. That's a hell of a gauntlet. That's a hell of a 3-game gauntlet. Eagles at home, Chiefs at home on Thanksgiving, and going to the Detroit Lions. All 3 of those teams, playoff caliber teams, of course. But that's where we're at with the Cowboys. Now, I said it yesterday. They said it on First Take this morning, and I'm telling it again. For the Cowboys to make a legitimately serious run at a playoff spot. Remember, they got a bunch of teams in front of them. You name it, they're in front of the Cowboys. But that tie they got could hold an advantage to them. But for that tie to make itself come into play, the Cowboys to make a serious and legitimate run at a playoff spot, they need to win 2 of their next 3 games. No doubt about it. They need to win 2 of their next 3 games. If they lose 2 of the next 3, season's over. Season's over. There'll be a 7 losses with a tie. That means they can't get to 10 wins. Season's over. If they lose 2 of their next 3 games, there'll be at 7 losses with a tie, which means you can't get to, which means you will not be able to get to 10 wins. No playoff. Forget it. 2 of the next 3. They gotta win it. So they're the team. They're our team whose playoff push begins now. Dallas Cowboys. Another team needs to start their playoff push now. I'm going to say the Detroit Lions. They're 6-4, but they're looking up at the Green Bay Packers, and surprisingly, the Chicago Bears is sitting at 7-3. Now I know Detroit has to play both those teams at least one more time. They need to beat them those times they play them. They cannot afford another loss to either one of those 2 teams that are in front of them, because then you're in trouble with your own division. And we're talking about a team that went 15-2 last year. They need to make their playoff run now. The Detroit Lions. They've been back and forth. They took a bad loss at home to the Minnesota Vikings a couple of weeks ago, and then last week they only mustered 12 points? 12 points against the Philadelphia Eagles. The offense has been looking a little shaky lately. And they need to get back to that run and gun offense that they've had that got them off to a pretty decent start of the season. They need to get back to that soon. Another team needs to make a playoff run right now. Would you believe I'm going to say the Carolina Panthers? They're only sitting a half a game behind the Tampa Bay Bucks. Carolina Panthers, that's right. Bryce Young, the guys, they're probably one of the surprise teams in the NFC. Definitely one of the surprise teams in the NFC, in the whole National Football League, besides the Colts, the Broncos. But their defense tends to be a little lousy. It leaks like a sieve, especially on the run. And the only thing that's keeping them alive, that's keeping them afloat right now, with Bryce Young, Andy Dalton's been wonderful. But the thing that's keeping them alive is the fact that they've been playing teams with lousy defenses. That's why they've been winning. They've been playing teams that have mediocre or worse defenses, and they've been able to pull off a lot of close wins. But that's going to change. That's going to change. And will that help them in the playoffs? Mm-mm. They need to make their playoff push right now. They can catch Tampa Bay because they still got to play them one more time. They can catch Tampa Bay. So if they want to have any notions of actually stealing this division from the Tampa Bay Bucks, playoff push right now. And last and not least, in the NFC West, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. They're getting healthy. Brock Purdy, the Purdy is back. So they're getting healthy. Now, I know there's going to be a big-time debate. Should Mac Jones be the starter over Brock Purdy? Look here. Brock Purdy took this team to a Super Bowl. So it ain't like he a slouch. Brock Purdy took the San Francisco 49ers to a Super Bowl. He's the starting quarterback in my eye. Yes, Mac Jones did a superb job in Purdy's absence. But just don't get nothing twisted here. Purdy is the quarterback. He is QB1 on the San Francisco 49ers. So we don't need to go through all this debate. It should be Mac. No, we don't need to do all that. Purdy's the quarterback. But with two teams in front of them, the Seahawks, the Rams, and they've already beaten the Rams once and lost to the Rams, and they still got to play Seahawks once. Can they catch those two teams to try to steal this division? At 7-4, with Purdy coming back, it's a good chance. But they got some injuries, big time injuries on defense that might hurt them. Fred Warner and the Knight. I have no idea. But if McCaffrey, Purdy, Kittles, and the fellas, if they can stay healthy, I like the chances. But they gotta stay healthy. McCaffrey, you gotta stay on the field. And that's been a bit of an issue with him over the years. Purdy, I don't know what you did to get you hurt, but you need to wrap your feet up every night, put them up on pillows. Don't get yourself hurt. Now, if I was the 49ers, I'd wrap Brock Purdy in bubble wrap for the week, and put him in a box and say open only on game time. Open only during game day. And let him out so he can play. But the 49ers, 7-4, they need to make their playoff run now. So, those are my teams in the NFC that I believe need to start their playoff run like PDQ, like now. So, what do you think? Am I right or wrong? Who do you see needs to start a playoff run now in week 12? Let me know. Leave me a comment. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it. All right? This is Big O with the big mouth, and it's time for me to head on out of here. Tomorrow, I'm going to look at teams. We're going to talk college football. And I'm going to throw in a little NBA tomorrow, too. Because we got some teams that surprised in the NBA, and we have some teams that stink. But let's talk about the surprises in the NBA. We're going to do that on tomorrow's show. But we're also going to talk who needs a win in college football this weekend. 2 or 3 teams need wins, and we're going to discuss that tomorrow here in the Total Sports Ozone. Have a good day.